Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama to call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. Good morning, good morning. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. Hope everybody's doing well. We got so much to talk about today. Oh my goodness. It's going to be quite an interesting day full of discussions. Of course, you guys know the number to call into the program, 936-2626. Want to do a big shout out to all of our listeners on Instagram. We're just getting that feed going here. And of course, everyone who's joined the channel, thank you so much for doing so. We'll continually remind you guys until you get the hang of it about the channel and how it works, because I know some of you still aren't quite sure about that. And so we'll remind you. And then some of you are having some issues joining the WhatsApp news channel. And we do actually have some tips that others have discovered have worked really well for them. So, we'll share that with you guys as well. So happy Monday to everyone. Just making sure that everyone has a link. So give me one good second. We do have a guest who's going to be joining us right off the bat this morning. We're happy to certainly have him there. So we'll introduce the good doctor here in a second. All right. So good morning. I see you guys are coming on the live stream now. Very good. We'll give you just a couple more minutes to get your coffee and jump on with us. Morning to everyone on Instagram. Can I tell you guys that lately, it's like the competition's on, but our YouTube live views have really been outpacing Facebook. I've been a bit surprised, to be honest. I'm looking at it going, wow, okay, this is interesting. Really the first time that has been happening. So I'm not sure what the shift is, but yesterday I noticed it because it was, sometimes it's kind of neck and neck, but yesterday it was actually a really marked difference, which is so incredibly interesting. And of course, I know the platforms offer different benefits, but Facebook has always been where the majority of people are at, especially for a live feed. So, just one of those things that we, in terms of our analytics and metrics, I should say, that we just keep an eye on. So good morning to CC McLaughlin. Olivia is in the house. Ingrid is here. Nisa, how are you? Strong Will, good morning to you. And everybody else that has woken up with us early this morning to join us on the live stream and otherwise. So let's go ahead and get started because we have zero time to waste today. Two significant issues we're going to be discussing, CIFEC, of course. And in addition to that, we're also going to be talking about the credit union. So, honey child, things are heating up. Buenos dias to Miss Alba. Good morning, Miss Delcy. How are you? I'm going to just ask my guest to pull his camera down just a little bit for me, please. There we go. That's perfect. All right. Wonderful. So lots of people already messaging around today's conversations. So listen, the University College of the Cayman Islands has been very, very busy, doing a lot, quite frankly. And I noticed that last year they had some record numbers in terms of enrollment. Well, they're not sitting back on that success story and thinking, right, we've arrived, we're good to go, no worries. In fact, they are saying, listen, registration is here again, folks, and we want you guys to know what our course offerings are, and don't miss the relevant deadlines so that you can ensure that this week now, which is registration week, you get all of your paperwork in, you get the courses that you need, and you're able to get in there and further your education. So they're hosting a mean registration event this morning. We're going to welcome Dr. Robertson into the house. His name is Dr. Robert Robertson. I dare you to say that 3 times really, really quickly. It can be a tongue twister for sure. So good morning, Dr. Robertson. How are you?
Good morning.
It's so good to have you with us this morning. Of course, I was just saying that last year you guys announced what was quite an achievement of having the highest number of enrollments, in a given, enrollment segment. And so I'm sure you're looking to try to at least meet, if not exceed, those numbers this year. So tell us a little bit about this week's registration drive that you're having.
So let me just step back for a second. We just finished a really successful graduation, 250 graduates. And they're, they're heading out to schools, they're heading out to work, and people are excited. This week we're in registration. The campus is busy again, lots of students, lots of interest, and registration goes on today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday until 2 p.m. on Saturday, at which we're finished for the fall. We currently have about 820 students enrolled, young people from 16 to 64 in classes, and we've got classes in all kinds of different areas. So we're looking forward to another busy fall year.
Wow. And congratulations, yes, to all of your graduates. Of course, we saw them walking with pride at the graduation ceremony last week. So very, very good numbers, in fact. So, right. So tell us what the registration week or, the next couple of days will look like on campus. Right.
So basically registration starts at 9 o'clock. It's not just coming in and registering for classes. There's also advising. So especially new students need to have a pretty good sense of what their courses and program looks like over the entire period during which they're going to study. So they get some advising in the first instance. They actually physically register for the classes. There is a finance person there if there are some finance issues to be resolved. There's also some people there from student life to give advice on the types of clubs and activities that we have for students, and we have quite a few. We're looking at a major e-gaming event this year in competition with one of our partners in New England. The New England Institute of Technology has a major gaming center, so we're looking to do a virtual gaming event with them. So lots of things going on, and I think it's inspiring to see the interest from young people in the types of courses that we have to offer.
Wow, that's fantastic. So this expanding curriculum, let's talk a little bit about exactly what that is. I know you have signed a number of MOUs with different institutions in the region and across the world to give UCCI students the opportunity to either collaborate with other universities or, in fact, to become students at these other facilities. And UCCI is playing a sort of critical role as a bridge to making that happen. So when you're expanding your own curriculum, what sort of decisions do you, or how do you decide really what areas you wish to expand into?
So the biggest driver is really the labor market assessment that was done in the Cayman Islands about 2 years ago, which identified not only the current shortages with respect to skilled employees, but also future employee issues that employers felt we needed to do. So in particular, construction trades, there was a big interest in construction trades. Most of the big companies here and elsewhere in the Caribbean tend to bring people in from other islands because they're skilled. we're trying to address that through a certification program. The National Center for Construction Education and Research has some certified courses, and we're an authorized center. There's only 2 in the Caribbean that are authorized. In addition, IT, very important, particularly artificial intelligence. So we're introducing AI into some of the courses to address what we're hearing is a growing concern amongst the businesses in the Cayman Islands in particular are suspect to AI. So we need to understand it and stay ahead of the curve. In addition, another one that's really of interest and has kind of risen its head in the last couple of years is early childhood education. It's really critical to have competent, trained teachers, and we do have a center that's available. There are a few positions left in that program, although that's going quite fast. Nursing program, we've had that for quite some time, but again, a critical need, allied health. The health industry will only continue to grow given the aging population, not only here, but globally. So, we're really looking at what is it that the industries are looking for? What is it that the Cayman economy demands? And trying to address courses that will meet those needs, particularly shorter courses, industry certified courses, so you can get a credential that will help you to get into a job, which is, basically why most people come to UCCI.
Fantastic. You talk about that labor force survey being a really, critical piece of data for you to have. On this program, we're always talking about the necessity to make what we call the triple D, data-driven decisions. And so when you hear that, I'm so glad that you can look to, real concrete information to say, this is where the labor market in the Cayman Islands is going, and this is where the demand actually is. And so forward thinking and then offering courses that could meet those needs. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's really important to stay ahead of the curve. And, kudos to the Cayman Islands government, because they're one of the few countries in the region, to my knowledge, that actually does a monthly report, or a quarterly report, I should say, on workforce as it currently stands. We just have to extrapolate that into the future. What is it we need in addition to what we currently have?
Absolutely. All right, folks, don't forget, if you have any questions for UCCI President this morning, Dr. Robert Robertson, he's joining us. If you want to know anything about the upcoming terms or semester or anything else, by all means, please let us know, 936-2626. So workshops, I think, are a fantastic way, especially if you already have existing, degrees, to kind of maybe freshen up on your skill set. And I know you guys have done some really interesting ones in the past, everything from QuickBooks to, you mentioned some of the IT courses. Or is there anything new in the area of the workshops that will actually be added this specific term?
So we're looking at things, in particular in the BRAC, for example, at small engine repair. It's a topical issue for, if you happen to have a small motorboat, it's difficult to get somebody to repair it. So some of those do-it-yourself types of things. Introduction to Spanish. A lot of people are looking at a second language. Spanish is very important in the region. So we are looking in another few weeks to announce a series of what we're going to call weekend college. So basically in a week or two, you can pick up a certificate, an introduction, obviously, to something that's important. Cybersecurity is important as well. We can offer some Cisco courses. We're working closely with CEC to produce a national digital certificate in literacy. We're also looking to sign an agreement with the prison. It's important that folks in the prison, both correctional officers and people coming out of the prison, have a set of skills that can help them in the workplace when they come out. So there's a number of exciting things happening this fall, and I think the point is you can't rest on your laurels. You have to, continue to move forward. We had a student at graduation, if I can just share with you, who told me that he's been accepted. In fact, I think he's off today to Manchester Business School, which is one of the best business schools in the UK. Just a young student. He was a dual enrollment student. A couple of years ago when I first came, he was just starting the program. So he finished his high school diploma this past week, plus his associate's degree. And now he's heading to MBS, which is, again, one of the better business schools in the world. And it really shows the improvement, I think, in the brand. And that's one of the key things we're trying to do, is to improve UCCI's brand, not only for our own benefit, but for students. It helps them quite a bit to do the things they want to do.
Wow, that's fantastic. So congratulations to him. Tell us a little bit about the dual enrollment. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do know that that option is available there. And, sometimes parents, if they have younger children who are coming out of or about to come out of high school, they're not really quite sure what their future looks like. They know that perhaps they're not mature enough, or financial reasons they can't send them overseas to do a program. So tell us a little bit about how the dual enrollment program works at the University College of the Cayman Islands.
So essentially, we take high school students and provide them with college credits. So if nothing else, it reduces the time and cost of a parent sending a student elsewhere, if that's in fact what they want to do. So they can end up with a high school diploma and an associate's degree at the same time. It's been very successful. We have good graduation rates from the program, and it's kind of two sets of students we kind of look at. Some are, kind of academic achievers moving on to a university. Others, though, go into more of the trades and vocation area to get a skill. And so because of the fact we're an NCCER center, we can help them to get certified in carpentry, for example, or plumbing or electrical work. And so that's very helpful as they look to get into the workforce. So we expect about 110 dual enrollment students this year, about the same as last year. And we really want to make sure that they have a really good experience, because as you mentioned, they're a bit younger. We have to be cognizant of that and help them, guide them, support them, coach them. But my experience with them is just, fantastic. We had one student, by the way, from last year who has just received a scholarship from the government of Canada. She's leaving yesterday, actually left yesterday, to Toronto and then on to Halifax, Nova Scotia. And so she's an emerging leader in the Americas program scholar. And so, just think about that. You're maybe 17, 18 years old. You've got an international scholarship. Everything's paid for a term. And then she will come back and finish some work with us at UCCI. But she'll have a great international experience on the East Coast of Canada at no cost to her, basically.
Fantastic. Wow. So lots of success stories, people who are interested in the dual enrollment program. Should they be coming out this week as well as part of the registration week?
Yeah, they have to work through Ministry of Education on that one, because that's a Ministry of Education initiative in the first instance. But I'd encourage them to do that if they're interested, and also come in and see us, because there are some ways we can perhaps try to get them in if they're really interested. And I'm seeing a lot of increased interest in dual enrollment. It's really a great way if your child is ready to pick up those added credits, as I said, and be prepared for the future, whether it be workplace or other academics.
Wonderful. Okay. So focusing for now just on the registration week, give us some times. When can people come? They're obviously coming to the main campus. What about people in Cayman Brac? What are their options?
So Cayman Brac is at the Brac campus. We do have a coordinator there as well who can help them. He's also going to do some additional registration work through the high school. So that, I think, is covered. We'll have another set of short courses being offered in the BRAC, which will have a separate kind of registration period in the next couple of weeks. We want to get past the main one first. At the main campus, it's in the hall. It starts at 9 o'clock. It's by a ticket system. So the earlier you get there, the earlier your ticket is addressed. It closes at 6 essentially, but if the number of tickets issued exceeds a certain limit, we may close a little bit earlier, because we have been very busy. As I said, we're over 800 students now. One of the things that happens at most schools, it's not a criticism, it happens everywhere, is everybody waits till the last minute to register. Registration's been open for 2 months, and so you could have registered earlier, you could have registered online, for example, but people want to come in and do it face to face, which is fine, and we're dealing with that. So it's open today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 to 6 today, 9 to 7 tomorrow, and Friday and Saturday 9 to 2. If you happen to miss those, next week is what's called drop and add. And depending on what you're interested in, we don't want you to miss anything at the start of the term, but there is still a way to get in next week if you really need to and you've missed something.
Okay. But try to get in. I mean, if you haven't already, try to get in, between today and end of on Saturday, to get everything a bit wrapped up if you can. Right.
Yeah.
So Marissa's asking about online registration. Is that still an option?
It's still an option for an existing student. If you're a new student, we prefer to talk to you just to make sure we get you in the right program. Because if you're not in the right program, it ends up being a problem. But there, you can still enroll online.
Right. Okay. And Abby says UCCI was my stepping stone before university. It's a blessing. So Abby giving a bit of a testimonial there this morning.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Abby.
Yeah. All right. So Dr. Robert Robertson, again, president of the University College of the Cayman Islands, just reminding everyone about their registration week. Please go out and register. He's given you all the details and the time information. The university has a lot going on, so I know that we're going to be talking to you pretty soon. You've got a new comprehensive student information system that's coming online. We want to get some of those details and maybe even a little, tour of what that is going to look like. So congratulations to your continued growth, and good luck with the registration this week.
Thank you very much.
All right, we appreciate it. All right, folks. Again, that's Dr. Robert Robertson, University College of the Cayman Islands president.
Cayman Drama Society presents Juve by Yasmin Joseph. This play about Notting Hill Carnival will be performed at the Prospect Playhouse from the 29th of August to the 14th of September. Come join the Dane, Jade, and Nisha on the road as a DJ drops the beat and the girls both lose and find themselves in the music. The show takes us on a moving and fun ride through the streets of London and the history and emotions the carnival symbolizes. Get your tickets now at www.cds.ky.
All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Make sure you go and support the Cayman Drama Society. They've got that play on that starts tomorrow. So we gave out some tickets yesterday. In fact, I need to email them all the names of the people who won tickets. Yes, I better do that today, honey chill. Renee, oh gosh, hold on now. Let me grab a number. I think I forgot to write down one of the numbers. You see, I got to do it in real time. Otherwise, I completely forget. Oh, my goodness. Give me 1 second here. And I know a lot of y'all going to be calling today. So let me grab this number from the call log before I forget. So yesterday, I wrote down the first 3 digits. I'm like, okay, it begins with 329. And then I forgot the rest. So hold on one quick second. Let me see who called me from a 329 number. 32. Oh, Jennifer, you also WhatsApp me, so I should be able to find it. Yes, see it here. All right, giddy. Yes, I gotta keep a little notepad and pen here because child, that was Renee. Sorry, I'd be forgetting. So what I'll do is I'll send your number and name to the folks, and it's probably the easiest thing to do because it is for Thursday, the opening of the play. Is they'll just have it there ready for you and they'll give you all the details of showtime and you just show up and grab your tickets. Big shout out to Jennifer. Jennifer was saying that, oh my gosh, her daughter wanted to see this play. So that kind of worked out really, really well. So I think I've lost my debit card. I need to email CNB this morning. I used it on Sunday evening for dinner and then I went to use it yesterday because I hadn't used it since. And honey child, it's not where it's supposed to be. And I can't find it anywhere. What a mess. Ay. So I have to get a new debit card. Frustrating because then, you have to change things that you use it for. But all right, no worries. Sorry, CNB. Nobody's used it. I haven't used it. Murphy's Law, it's going to show up. Like the second I just sent the email to CNB. The second they reprint it, it'll show up some obscure place. I've looked in the car and I don't know where it is. It's on my handbag. Good morning to Miss Ethel and everybody else. Dee, buenos dias. Okay, let's talk about it. Wow, man, I tell you. Cayman is such a small place, but it is full of so much drama on a regular day. Yesterday afternoon, which I feel like, which topic do I start with first? Okay, let's talk about CIFEC. School starts today for government. Yesterday, I thought we had ended the show on a pretty good, positive, upbeat note about education. Like, as parents, we got this. We can do this. Yes. Let's stay positive. Department of Education, ministry. kind of doing some things that we're like, y'all need to do better. But let's not allow that to deter us. Thank you, Sheena. Let's not allow that to deter us from, as parents, giving it our 100% and hoping that, gosh, can they even meet us at 50% with these public schools, right? Oh, Lord have mercy. I was like, we can do this. And then 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a little bit after 1 o'clock, I started to receive messages about the CIFEC situation. Ay, ay, ay. Here's how the messages started out. I'm so disappointed in government. I'm like, I don't think, part of me is like, can they possibly disappoint you anymore? And I'm like, don't ask. Don't put that energy out there because somehow they find a way to do it. I got this message at 1:57 p.m. There's a meeting tonight at CIFEC with parents and students. The campus is not ready and they don't know what to do with the kids. What? Mind blown when I saw that message. Like, I was like, Now look here. I need to get new glasses. I know my prescription has changed. So I'm thinking to myself, surely I did not see that right. The day before school starts back for government people, wasn't CIFEC back in session today? You guys don't know where these kids are going and the school isn't ready? My brain was so confused and fogged up. I'm thinking to myself, what does that even mean? What do you mean it's not ready? In what world is that possible? You have the entire summer to get these schools ready to do the most. That's what I was saying. I don't understand. Public Works, they have a project manager or whatever they call them that is responsible for the schools. That person has a team of individuals. Do you guys not plan these things out? By the way, big shout out to all the parents. I see you posting your kids today and all of their, crisp uniforms, hair neatly done. They look phenomenal. Even Sarah Sue posted her kids in the back. Oh my God, that little baby boy is so cute. I love it. The kids are excited. They're looking good. They're like in the right mindset. Like, yes, school year is starting. Everybody's positive. You know what this does to parents and how this can throw you for a loop? That you find out that your CIFEC students now don't even have proper placement, like physically. Oh my God. So they go on to say, the blatant incompetence of the Department of Education Services is beyond belief. Because I was like, wow, mind blown, WTH. All the big wigs from DES is here. So now this is at 5:42. They're having the meeting now. You've got the director, Mark Ray, deputy director, Elroy Bryan, school improvement officers, Tammy Hopkins, Mr. Obi, I don't know who Mr. Obi is, Dr. Wildman. These people do not have anywhere to put the students. A good 200 parents showed up tonight. And neither Mark Siratan, director of CIFEC, or Mark Ray, director of Department of Education Services, could tell the parents where they're going to put the students and when classes will start. How? This individual goes on to say, they claim that a survey will be sent out tomorrow with the various options to parents. And after they receive the results of the survey, they will let the parents know what they will decide. Wow. Several parents pressed both Mr. Siratan and Mr. Ray about the options on the survey, which they refuse to divulge to the parents. Now, stick a pin. Why would they refuse to divulge that to the parents? Is it because they still didn't even know what the options were? And they were scuttling last minute to try to figure this out? No, man, y'all can't tell me that this is... This is what we're doing with education. Like, seriously. Miss Julie, come on. Give me something to try and help you with here. A hope and a prayer, something. Because this is next level incompetence. I don't even know how to work with this from the perspective that I can understand. What is the logical explanation for how this would have happened? And literally at the 11th hour, the clock is about to strike at midnight. It's now 11:55. No. 11:59 and 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds left before the clock strikes and y'all don't have it together. Incompetence is one word to describe this. There are many others that I could use to describe this. This is ridiculous. You expect me, I don't have a kid going to CIFEC, but in conjunction with all of the asbestos issues and lack of repairs at CIFEC, all of that going on, then this. You think if I were a parent that I would actually believe that you guys care about my kid? Let's just be very honest here. At some point, parents have to make and ask some really tough questions about the ministry, the department, the minister by extension. How do y'all not get hold of this? How is that possible? I do not understand. On a real, for real now, help me help you. I want to help you guys. I don't want to get up here and criticize education if I don't have to. Show me the light at the end of the tunnel. Show me how I can get up and defend what you guys are going on with. Because listen, if I'm on a team here and you have to ask me, Sandy, who are you batting with? The only logical side I can take is on the side of the students, because the entire educational system should be designed for them and their benefit, to educate our children, to give them a fighting chance. Weekend before Georgetown Primary has the facility rented out. You guys can't get school uniforms sorted out. CIFEC the day before school starts, being told, oops, we're not ready. The facility isn't ready. So yeah, we're going to be putting you somewhere, but we don't even know where yet. Let's continue to read. They're going to move ahead and register the students for classes this week, but cannot tell parents where and at what time classes will begin. They're blaming the government procurement process on the delay, but parents were not happy that DES waited until now to inform parents, and the old George Hicks campus is not ready, and they could not tell parents when it would be ready and how long the alternative arrangements will be in place. Both Mrs. Saratan and Ray kept saying that they're looking at placing students at John Gray High School in Clifton Hunter, but it sounds like after the regular students are finished with classes. If this is the case, when are the CIFEC students going to start classes for the day and end? They must expect them to go till 1 o'clock in the morning. These are still kids. Not one person from the Ministry of Education was present tonight. Let me stick another pin. You see now? I don't expect the premier to get on bended knees with a mop and a broom and be doing stuff in the schools. But there are certain things that I expect her to do. Okay? And trust me, I am not, the expectation is not very high, the list of expectations, okay? Y'all keep telling me, Sandy, stop expecting stuff from people and they won't disappoint you. I have a different philosophy personally about that. I say you can't go into a situation and have no expectations, because people have a tendency to meet your expectations. And if you have none, or you put the bar very low, that's where they're going to come in at. However, the minister can do a few basic things when it comes to education. Number one, just show up. You know, every day we tell our kids, life lesson, a job, school, whatever, show up. You can't perform. You can't be graded. You can't learn anything if you don't show up. Show up is the first step. Showing up is the first step to success. Right? So you got to come to the party. You got to show up to school to hear what your teachers are going to say and to try to learn. Even when you're in university, you got to show up. When you have a job, you can't get the job done. You can't get a paycheck. You can't get paid if you don't even show up. Minister, all I'm asking of you on behalf of the people of the Cayman Islands and on behalf of our students and the whole entire educational system, show up. You don't show up to graduations. No real excuse. Last week, she was here in Grand Cayman at the salon getting her hair done in the afternoon. The night was a UCCI graduation and she doesn't show up. Why? What would be, listen, I don't know if y'all are tired as ministers of going to every event, but that's what we pay you to do. That's part of the job. You've been doing it for almost 30 years. Do you not know what is required of you to be a half decent representative of the people? Clearly, we're not asking you to be a shining star. God knows that doesn't seem to be the case. The general voter out there has a very low expectation of their MPs, but gosh darn it, can we at least get you to show up? Coming for the occasional photo op like this isn't cutting it. This is not enough. Don't say nothing about that outfit, please, because I'm not getting into it this morning. But this just is not enough. You don't support our children when it counts. I try my best to give this woman credit where credit is due. Yes. I'm not trying to be, the mean girl against the Honorable Premier Juliana O'Connor Connolly. When we had the opening of John Gray, the new John Gray campus, a couple years ago now, time's flying, she showed up and gave this impassionate speech, right? About how young people, this is a beautiful campus. Of course, she had to bring the good Lord into it, that the good Lord has provided, funds from the government, yada, yada, yada. And we encourage you to take care of the campus and to always give your best and to always do this and that. And I'm like, yes, I'm feeling it. Good. These young people now, y'all getting it from the premier. Well, she wasn't premier at the time, minister of education. She is sharing with you the recipe for success, caring about your environment, doing this. I felt the passionate speech. Now I sit back and I think to myself, were those just all words that had no real significance behind them? When you yourself don't even show up? So somebody dropped the ball. And at some point in time, I no longer care who dropped the ball. There has to be a rude awakening here, okay? Let me be very, very clear. When you drop the ball this bad, y'all are gonna have to figure out who did it. But my primary concern is that the ball has been dropped and that our students are now going to negatively be impacted by this situation. That's where my concern lies. My concern does not lie with, procurement process, this, that. You guys act like this is the first time you've ever done a project. Civil servants, what's going on here? You all should be well-versed. You should be able to blindfold yourselves and do projects. And this is why I'm telling you all, When we talk about a $50 million black school, without a doubt, it's going to cost us at least $75 million, and it's going to be 2-3 years later than it was promised. So stop being naive. This is where now we have to adjust our expectations. Stop being naive and start to realize how the system actually operates. They will come with all sorts of promises. Oh, we're going to bring in foreign workers. We're going to build $10 million homes, housing facility for them so they can just live on the BRAC, and they're going to be working overtime, and it's going to be complete in this amount of time, blah, blah, blah. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. They've never accomplished it yet. So yeah, I believe in miracles, but not coming from the government. I'm sorry. So you mean to tell me they didn't know that whatever they needed to get done in July, early August wasn't on schedule and wasn't going to happen in time for this week? How would that be possible? It don't make no sense. Makes 0 sense. Then you wait to inform students and parents. You know the anxiety that puts parents under and students? They were working around their schedules, working out plans. All right, you're going back this week, da, 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 da. None of that is going to happen. The person goes on to say, again, no one from the Ministry of Education was present. So let me make the point here. The very minimum, I expect you. Now, I know y'all MPs blaming the civil service. And like I said yesterday, they got to take their licks where they got to take their licks. Because a lot of ish going on in the civil service that they're not world class where they should be. And if they drop the ball and they get it wrong, yeah, they make their minister look bad, but guess what? As the minister, you should show up and take some accountability and take some responsibility. Talk to the parents. Let them know how you're feeling about the situation, because we would love to know. The Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly is one of the most eloquent speakers, well, sort of, in the Cayman Islands, right? She can pull out a lot of big words and it flows in a way that is very different. She needed to come and have some words flowing last night. She didn't show up. Miss Monteith did not show up. Nobody from the ministry. Who else? What other chief officers do they have? Nobody showed up last night. If I was a parent, I'd be sitting there thinking to myself, how much does the ministry really care about our children? They could at least show up and take the pulse of the parents, talk to them, talk to the kid, something. They have such little regard. Now, I need y'all to listen in the Ministry of Education. Every single one of you have such little regard for this situation and these students and these parents that you did not even bother to do the bare minimum, which is to show up. If that doesn't speak volumes to you all about how we're prioritizing our children and prioritizing education, the public education system, I don't know what's going to get it through. This person goes on to say, people don't realize that the majority of year 12 students end up at CIFEC. Approximately 250 students attend CIFEC each year, more than the students who enter the dual enrollment program at UCCI and sixth form at Prep and St. Ignatius combined. Many parents are government workers and were afraid to speak up tonight. One parent approached me and said that she worked for government and was afraid to speak up. And of course, that should be zero surprise. Y'all, listen, I got you. Y'all just messaged me this morning. I will read your comments and express your disappointment. Of course, like I said, I don't have a child at CIFEC, but I can only imagine as parents what you guys must be thinking. Knowing that this would have impacted this many students, I still don't understand what happened here. And as usual, lower your expectations because there'll be no accountability. There will be no heads that will be rolling as a result of this. Nobody's going to get fired. Nobody is going to get demoted. In fact, they're going to give them pay raises again next year, just like they just did. No, we're going to reward you for lack of performance because that is what we always do. What is wrong with us? 936-2626. Aliano, good morning to you. Aliano says, good morning, K-Man. Who's getting blazed up today? Nisa says the whole government. No, we're doing education today. Again, I thought I was done with them yesterday. Carla, good morning, says the priority of the premier was to make herself look good by increasing teachers' salaries. The children are definitely not her priority. Miss Donna, good morning to you. Miss Donna says, don't surprise me. This place ain't ready. Every day you pass there, the workers are under the trees on their phones. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A topic that I'm very interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I had the pleasure of meeting one lady sometime about a year and a half ago. She was renting. And I asked her, what does she do for a living? She said she was a teacher. I looked from her toes to her head, and I was like, not even my helper I want in my house looking like this. She had just left the school. She had like 3 earrings in one ear. Her hair was how many colors? Her nails was longer than, I would say, about 4 inches. And I don't know what color her face was. And she'd teach one of our major schools. Now, I took this very offensive that I spoke to somebody in regards to this. What are we teaching our kids? When these people go in front now teaching our kids, the kids can even study. Can they concentrate on their work? This woman is like, she's competing in a dance hall, is what I thought. Yeah. And the kids is in class. When they looking at her alone, that take away the ambition, I would think, or whatever, to study because they're looking like me. What kind of teacher is this? That's not what we used to. That's not the standards that we were. Miss Howell and them took, we don't know what they did after school. And even our other teachers like Miss Liz and them that used to teach the school, local ones, and even those that came from Jamaica, the older ones, they had the standards of a teacher. I know that they have to be a certain standard. I remember in Cayman when you were not allowed to have kids outside of marriage as a teacher. If you had one, you couldn't have another one, right? There were so many standards because we teach, we have a product. And if you're selling your product, believe it or not, everything counts in this product, right? And our kids are a product of that environment that they see, that they're taught. Mm-hmm. That's why it wasn't like I could say I rich or could afford, but I chose to send my kids to school that I had to pay because they wear uniform. The teachers was well-grown, dressed as the way they were supposed to be. It was education and other things that I personally was looking for. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I at any time was downgrading the government schools. I was downgrading the standards that the school has come to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is why the kids is how they are. Because these people don't have the kids at heart, first of all. They come to just get the money when you see them, and that's what they're interested in. And I mean, we got to stand up for these children. I don't have any more kids going to school, but I'm concerned for other people, kids that's going to school. I'm concerned that when my kids have kids, they're going to go to school. We need to step up. This education is the key to life, really. And we don't have it there. That's why the kids are failing. They're failing because the teacher don't care. When I see this teacher and I hear her talk, dear Father, I was like, I asked her more than once, are you a teacher? And where she was teaching, I was amazed that they would accept her there. But it's like they just want to fulfill how many teachers they need. They don't. They don't have no value, no standards anymore. They just want teachers. So they get a teacher like they're so happy. Instead of them investing in their own teachers, people that want to be teachers, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to wait the long term. They just want a quick fix. So we got a teacher that coming from wherever. I don't want to, discriminate any nation or anybody or color. But that's right. Do they really love our kids? Do they really care for kids?
Listen, I don't even need them to love our kids. I just need them to have a degree of care and concern to do their job properly.
Yes.
Which dictates that they are going to have to, give some decent consideration to our children. But that's not happening.
Even with love, right? They can teach kids, because what I've found is that when somebody's kind to somebody and they love some, like, not the love like you or I, but they show love and respect to the kids will want to do better just for that reason, because they have an expectation, and they want to live up to what teacher believes or wants to do. Miss Howell was a big influence in my life. Yeah. That woman would sit you down, you could see the care, and speak to you in a way, you feel respected and all of these things. So when I say love, it's not the love you got to hug them up, kiss them up, but the love to want to see them succeed in life,
Yes.
Thank
you, caller. We do have some other callers trying to get on as well. So leave me there with those comments.
Okay, sweetie.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Yeah, I just want them to have a love for their jobs. Like, my apologies. I know we missed a few calls there. Please do give us a call back. I just want them to have a love for their job, because you see, when you have a love for your job, by extension, you're going to care about the results that you're getting, which is what comes through those children. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning, dear.
I just have a couple things to add to what the caller was saying.
Yes.
First of all of my children, I have 3 children. My youngest has just started public in Westlake, and I've never had any issues. I've had excellent teachers that care. Now, are there some that don't? Absolutely. But the problem is, because I know of 3 Caymanian teachers, young Caymanian teachers in late 20s, early 30s, that left the profession after just a year or 2. Because the schools are overpopulated, because our islands are overpopulated. So there's more problems. Look at John Gray. They had teachers that had to leave and go back because there was no place for their children to go to school. So these issues are not just one dimensional. It's multiple things. Our islands are even overcrowded.
And
when you go around and you do a census, right? When you go around and you do a census, because I was a census worker, and you have Caymanians telling you, I don't want him to know my business. I don't want this. I don't want that. How are we supposed to know if we need another school in Westgate, or if we need a bigger school or whatever, if we don't do a census? So these problems are multifaceted, and people love to complain, but when it comes time to problem solving and solutions like a census, they don't want to participate. It really makes me upset. As I said, my children have gone to public school. My daughter just started John Gray, so we'll see how it goes. But I know teachers in John Gray personally, and I have every faith in the system. It's the parents and the students. Yes, I'm not disagreeing. There are some teachers that are just here for a paycheck, but I honestly don't think it's the majority. And I think there are a lot of teachers that care, and I think students can do well in the public school system if the parents are involved.
Listen to me, the teachers can't even teach if there's no classroom and there's nowhere to hold sessions like CIFEC right now.
Exactly.
Thank you, caller.
So these aren't just one-dimensional problems.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, we've got another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Morning.
This topic is very, very dear to my heart because I've seen and I've been through a lot lately with teachers in schools. Thankfully, my children are, I only have two, but they're in private. But the experience that I've had in the government schools is really, really ridiculous. I did one survey one time. And when I went to the class, the one child was late. He came in at 10 o'clock. And the teacher, and he sat right up to the back in one corner. The teacher told me, you know, you may want to go and help him out because he don't know how to read.
Wow.
So I went to him, you know, I explained to him what he had to do, what he had to answer. He looked at me, you know, like, and I'm like, do you understand? And he didn't say nothing. I said, do you know what this is? And he just shook his head. And I'm like, this child that needs help, you put him way down to the back in the corner, abandoned over there, you know, like you don't care.
Yeah.
Instead of having him in front. And not only that.
Let me be very clear. What year was this child in at the time?
First middle school.
Okay. So the bigger question really is, how does a child make it to middle school?
Exactly. Because
not being able to read.
Exactly.
And nobody intervened? Because listen, Sandra, the way to address something like that is not to put the child in the front of the class, because they're already so far behind that they need individual tutoring and assistance. They should not even be in the regular classroom environment if that is where his skill set is.
When my children were in school, many times I went to the schools, they were separated by the Jamaican teachers. And I'm scared to say this because I have a lot of bad experience with these teachers.
Separated? Why?
They were separated. Okay, all the Caymanians come this, all the Jamaican national come this way because these Caymanians do not want to learn. Yes, many times my girls came home telling us that. I heard one teacher myself telling another white parent, try and keep your children, you know, far away from these Caymanians because they're bad influence. They don't want to learn, blah, blah, blah. And I could not believe my ears.
Oh my gosh.
I could not believe it. Wow. I just took out my two boys from another private school because there's a teacher there that has been about 7 years. She's on work permit. And I do not know how. Well, of course I know because, you know, they put everything under the rug. This teacher has been tormenting kids for the past 7 years. I went and I called up a meeting with the board, which many parents did not get to. They've been trying to get to speak with the board about this particular teacher, and they were not given the opportunity. I went and I given letters from students, from parents, you know, where the concerns and many things that has been happening over these years. Do you think that they did anything? They didn't do anything. I had to take my two boys from there because of this teacher, and many more have left that school. This teacher is on work permit. I also wrote the Department of Education. Unfortunately, I can't do anything because it's a private school. And this teacher, like I said, the thing that she did to these kids, it's really, really bad. Now, they moved her down to teach K4 students, which is even worse because these kids can't even talk and defend themselves. While the bigger ones were complaining many times for years, and parents, I have all the letters with me. And I presented them to Education Department, like, how is it you can't get involved when a teacher is being so wicked because this woman is wicked. And they didn't do anything. They don't do anything.
Wow. Thank you, caller. Unbelievable. 936-2626 is a telephone number. I mean, when I hear these types of stories, you know, it makes my heart sink. It makes me sad that this is where we are. We're talking about teachers who forget about them loving your children. Like I said, maybe love is asking too much. But you have to ask yourself, do they even like children? Sounds like they may even hate our Caymanian children. Y'all need to be very, very careful who you're recruiting into these positions to be around your children, because I'm going to tell you, without fear of contradiction, there are people who feel that Cayman's quote unquote success story has not been deserved. Maybe jealousy is too strong of a word. Maybe it isn't. But they're here to benefit, but secretly, they're hoping in every way, shape, or form, crime, educational concerns, abuse, the degradation of our families and homes, everything, they want to follow the same patterns that has been dominating their own countries. That's why I tell you all, when we're bringing in all sorts of ridiculous people now, the quality of people that we continue to import has gone down significantly. And when they're being their bad marriages of convenience, scamming ways, all sorts of stuff, and y'all sitting down not paying attention, we have a huge problem. Because as a Caymanian, we are allowing this to happen and go unchecked. Some of y'all afraid of, well, I don't want to insult anybody, as somebody said. I don't want to name a nationality. I don't want to insult anybody. Listen, if you're in that nationality and it don't apply to you, you're not gonna feel no way about it, because you're like, that's not me. I'm not of that caliber. But those of you who are of that caliber, if the hat fit, if the cap fit, you must wear it. You know exactly what it is that you're doing. And if you don't think that some people would love to see our children not have one solid rock in their head, because then they can't compete with jobs, they can't do anything, and we're going to have to continue to overly rely on foreign labor and importing people, that's a winning formula for them. Because look at where we're bringing people from. They're like, oh, well, they can definitely be coming to us, especially if I'm 7-day Adventist child. I'll get the first job. First principal jobs. Let's make sure there's no educated Caymanians who want to teach in the schools. And the few that make it to that level, we're going to frustrate the heck out of them to make sure that they don't want to stay anyway, because they can go into corporate Cayman, make more money, and have less stress. This is now where I expect the MPs, the elected officials, to kind of step in and say, hold on a second here. Enough is enough. Okay? We need diversity in our school teachers. We should not have the majority of school teachers from any one country or nationality. Because in the real world, when your children get out there, they're going to have to deal with a lot of diversity. We're missing the boat. And it's a crying shame that the people who are hired and elected to speak up on our behalf simply are not doing so. Let me read some of your comments. Carla says, kaboom. Yes, Sandy. Bonnie says, speak the truth. Kaboom! Miss Siobhan says, some of them are there for the money. Joy Sand says, because we're the minority and they take care of their own. That may be the case that we're the minority, Miss Joy Sand. However, our elected officials should be setting the tone for what we expect to happen and what should be happening. Ingrid is asking, how come education department cannot get involved? What do you mean they can't get involved? DES? They're the ones who are making these decisions. They're the ones who have to take accountability for why CIFEC isn't ready today. Urban Trend says that the recruitment managers in education department need to be reviewed as well when it comes to recruiting teachers. Faith and Hope says we need to go back to basics. That's simple. Well, I mean, I want to know, Miss Faith and Hope, what does that mean exactly? What does going back to basics mean? Mr. Goodluck says nothing against the church, but they obviously prioritize their service first and totally forgot about the future of the islands. Jenna says the education minister needs to stop spending money from government purse because since she became the premier, she's spending unnecessarily and foolishly from some unlimited account. It is a very sad time for this country, and Caymanians and their children are suffering. She needs to step down. Mr. Goodlook says, I bet they made sure they was at church early and made sure every service was well announced. Marissa says, my child was a grade 7 student during the pandemic, and now in his last year, he doesn't even have a proper school for his final and most critical year. Isn't that a sad indictment on us? On the ministry and the department? Worse than it was during the pandemic, says Marissa. Sheena says they also promised to send out the survey last night. Still waiting. Nothing yet. Katrina, good morning, says as long as the teachers are doing their jobs and the kids are actually learning, if the teacher chooses to embrace their own individuality, that's their business. If you want your child to look a certain way, then raise them that way. So she's saying it doesn't matter to me what the teachers come dressed in or dressed as or whatever, I guess. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Morning, yeah.
So I don't know exactly where you were on. I was driving, so I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, as a concerned parent, I voiced the same concerns that a few callers mentioned, and I have to agree with some of the callers to an extent. So while you might say, yes, there are teachers who are extremely great teachers. And I have to give kudos this morning to those teachers because they work really hard.
Yes.
But then there's also, like we mentioned, teachers who just do not give care, and they turn around and give the children the blame for the reasons why they're not successful within the classroom. I had a teacher that looked at my child who was a bit behind with math. And that was primarily because the teacher showed zero interest in the kids. I've heard multiple parents mention the same thing, and it was just voiced across so many areas. And I said, something is wrong. This teacher looked at my child on a specific day when he answered the question. Now, I know he was having a problem with my kid in his class, but I just spoke to my child and I said, give it your all. Do what you have to do. I am here. I'll get you tutoring. I'll do everything. He said, Mommy, that's not the problem. He said, my teacher just doesn't care. He said, you know what my teacher said to me when I answered a question? You're not stupid after all. Excuse me? I will always walk with that because you just basically shut my child down to the extent that he's now no longer confident enough to make that decision to answer a question.
Wow.
So my child sat CXCs and I am continuously
Can I ask you a question, right? When your child said that to you, what did you do with that information?
Honestly, I made a complaint about it. But I left it alone because I knew what I was going through. And I said at that time that, my child is doing something. I feel like he's doing something. And at first I can say that this is where I failed my child by not believing him in the first instance. But when it continuously started to happen that my child was just like, no, I actually went to the teacher. But every time that I went to see this teacher, he was not in the class. He would never show up to school or to class. You imagine having a teacher, being a math teacher, telling a child that he can be in the gym instead of being in school. Excuse me? You're being paid for this. My child's success depends on you. Now, my child
did you listen to the program yesterday by any chance?
I honestly, because of work, I only got to listen to a portion of it.
At one point, I said, as parents, you have got to be your child's number one advocate, right? So,
Sandy, I am my child's number one advocate, and I can tell you why.
Don't ever drop. Listen to me. When you see a teacher like this,
I drop.
Yes, don't drop it. You need to, for the sake of not just your child, but all children in the school system. especially Caymanian children, you needed
Well,
to
you know why I
pursue that.
left it alone? Because I realized that John Gray High School must have gotten some sort of, they got some information about it because they never renewed the teachers' contract.
Don't take
Now,
that chance. Make sure you follow through with parents.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I can, as I said to you, I took my blame for that, but I also went ahead and I tried to make it right. So I, in the next hand, try to talk to my son. My son's last year, thankfully, he passed all of his subjects with the exception of math. So that requires him now to go to CIFEC. Now, my concern with CIFEC is the fact that, you know, this is a critical year for my child because my child's CXE results now depends on him being able to apply for honors, to also apply for university because math is very much a mandatory subject. So if 36% of the children in the Caribbean have only passed, how much of that percentage is Cayman? That was my question. And then when I said this, that with the school not being ready, them transitioning into a new program. Now, the children that are going into grade 12 are currently children who were pandemic students in grade 7. So they left grade 6 and went straight to John Gray High School and automatically was placed into a remote learning. So what did the children learn in year 7? Not much. So now to be failed in, you know, I never had any problem. I've always had teachers who are supportive. I have to big up a lot of the teachers who made an effort, John Gray High School, for my son to pass. And I know despite everything, we might have a few teachers that have failed the students, but I think a lot of them have also, and it's not about how they look. Students look at teachers and there's teachers of all diversities and all, you know, we have to be diverse. We can't look at it that teachers are supposed to come in long skirts when we know what they're doing. But I am also saying that you need to just have the children's interest at heart. I am a supportive parent. I have always been there. When my son is doing something wrong, I am at that school. When my son is doing something right, I am at the school. My son was in an altercation and I faced with every single one of the parents and I said, listen, your children can get in trouble for what they did to my child, but here's what I am going to do as a solution. You don't do this again. And don't worry, even those students today can tell you that when I see them, the first thing that I do, I say, you behaving yourself? Yes, mom. Yes, mom. And I go to the school, I'm present. To have people like last night tell us that, you know, there's no solution, there's no way. And then you're waiting until the week of school, the week before, the week of school to say that my child now in his critical year is not going to have the opportunity to go into a proper facility to gather all of the useful skills that he needs to be able to be successful. So he is not a product of society and a nuisance to society because he will have all of the equipment to go out there and succeed in university and come back and be a citizen of Cayman. That's what I think most of us want. Have a good day, Sandy.
Thank you, my dear. What a mess. And somebody's sitting here saying, and yet they just gave him an increase. Listen, I want to thank all of the excellent teachers because without a doubt, we have them who do make a lot of sacrifices. I know some teachers, their entire classroom, everything you see in there, they go and get that material and pay for those things out of pocket. That's a fact. That's not me speculating. Because again, education isn't even providing them with the tools that they need to do their job. So in many respects, it is a little bit of a thankless job. But, you know, our government has said, and this particular minister who raised the salaries for all teachers to a base of $5,000, now she's given assistant teachers, principals, and assistant principals an increase again on top of whatever they were making, because they wouldn't have been making the base necessarily, right? Teachers and assistant principals and principals make more. So she continues to prioritize the money, but I don't see a priority on the children, the facility. Even now we see with the CIFEC situation, I don't see a priority on, making sure that the tools are there for our children to really get the decent education that they deserve. It is a human right that they are actually being denied, as far as I'm concerned, because of slackness within government. And that is where the minister needs to answer. And she doesn't, all this stuff is going on. What she should have been doing this morning is getting on her favorite radio show. I would have expected her to go over to OC, get on his program this morning and address what has happened over at CIFEC. She's not there. Why? It's a sad indictment. This person says, good morning. This government is so slow. They didn't even make the parents and students know this weeks ago. It's not for the principal or staff to do this. It's the education department and that big frock woman. Sandy, there are so many students now at John Gray High School that they have to add a new schoolhouse Barracuda. So they need another high school. It would be, if they need another high school, it would be in Grand Cayman, not Cayman Brac. But Sandy, it is education department that has to give the license for that person to teach. So why, they don't do anything. Should be my child they mess with, because Lord help me, because I go in for that teacher. They need to bring back some good teachers from Barbados and stop employment from them. Stop employment some Jamaican teachers. I think it was like stop employing. Juliana, get up in the meetings with teachers and say she loves Jamaica because she's Jamaican. A staff member told me so. Boy, some people they change like a chameleon. 1 minute they're Jamaican, 1 minute they're Caymanian, 1 minute they're Cayman Braca, and want to run back home every 2 minutes, and I got no time for Grand Cayman. So I don't know what's going on around here. Listen, this isn't about disrespecting any nationality or anything like that, but I'm a Caymanian. I can't be nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I lived in the States for 15 years and had residency, and I'm still a Caymanian. Never got American papers because I really wasn't all that interested. I'm a Caymanian. Even when I sound like an American, I'm a Caymanian. What kind of nonsense these people talking about? My grandfather's a Jamaican. That don't make me a Jamaican. I'm a Caymanian. We were even confused about our identity as ministers of government. No, they're not confused. It's called politics. They pander to whoever it is that they're talking to. That's what that's all about. All right. This person says it was suggested that they attend school from 3:40 to 8:30 p.m. at John Gray High School. Lord Jesus. What? The most at-risk students from the behavior intervention units have been pushed back into the schools. This was a failure last term because the kids were constantly being suspended. They had nothing in place for the reopening since the buildings are not going to be ready for another 6 months minimum. So kids are going to be suspended again. This is a shame. Again, please keep my name anonymous. So, the behavioral intervention unit was there. Are you now telling me that unit has been done away with? I don't understand what you're telling me. Because this is very, very confusing. So the unit has been disbanded? What? We need some clarification here. Now, somebody messaged me this morning, and they actually said, let me try and find this message now. This was on WhatsApp. And they were talking about where they're going to be putting them. Of course, I saw the press release from government about the whole CIFEC situation. And boy, they have some creative writers that they employ on staff, because there's no way that press release was a true representation of what actually happened yesterday. Okay, yes, this was 6:29 this morning. Have a look at this. This person says, sorry for all the typos. Have to join traffic now. What a mess. All right. This person says, morning. Hold on 1 second here. Let me just pull this up on the big screen. Ay, ay, ay. What a mess. This person says, morning, hope all is well. Just on the CIFEC article commenting here, as could get into trouble at work if they say my name. I heard that the new temporary premises is going to be, have a guess, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Georgetown by the hospital. Oh my God. Hold on. You really, you can't make this stuff up, right? Really? What's the collusion with the Seventh-day Adventist Church? I hope to God we're getting it for free in the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. Say what? No, sir. All right. That is where they met with the teachers or CIFEC, maybe at that's why they could use the other school hall that day. Perhaps they aren't using the church now since the meeting for the school, a change of plan, but might be worth finding out. One teacher said that there's not adequate facilities at the church, and what are they supposed to do for BTEC courses, which need a practical classroom, as well as the criteria for the students for them to learn and prepare for exams. They can't use the church. It doesn't have kitchens, labs, etc. The DOE has had the whole summer to consider the options and work faster on a solution for the teachers and students. Fail. You know that I've never watched Game of Thrones, but I've seen that epic scene where the woman is walking through the cobblestone streets of whatever. And what do they say to her? They keep repeating something. Remind me, those of you Game of Thrones fanatic. I feel like we need to have a minister and some members of the ministry and department walking through our well-paved streets here in Cayman with our little bell saying failed. Oh, shame. Thank you. Yeah, we could say shame too, but we can say failed, shame, because they should be ashamed. But somehow this morning, I kind of fancy that they don't care. That's the only conclusion that I'm beginning to come with. And like I said, creative writers and sending out these government press releases, poor them. I know that they have to do it because, they wouldn't keep a job if they didn't. But let me see here now. I'm trying to find this press release. But I mean, they have to know that sending that foolishness out to media when we actually know better, they're not gonna fly. I'm not printing a press release just because y'all send it out. That is absolutely ridiculous. So this went out at 9:26 p.m. last night. What y'all need to do is send out that survey that you promised the students that you were going to send out. Now they're talking about, this is what the press release says. I'll read it to you and I'll show it to you. Hold on one second. Temporary relocation of CIFEC students. And they actually have a schedule here. So for those of you who might have missed that article this morning, feel free to go back and read it. But they're saying that the Ministry of Education, Department of Education Services, today announced that the Cayman Islands Further Education Center, CIFEC, will temporarily operate from an alternative site at the beginning of the 2024-2025 academic year due to unexpected delays in completing the renovations to the former John Hicks site. And again, nobody's even addressing the continued concerns really at CIFEC for teachers who say that that environment is not healthy. Okay. CIFEC director, Mr. Mark Siratan, is that how I guess that's how he spells it, remarked, "We've been collaborating closely with DES and the administrators at the Clifton Hunter and John Gray schools to finalize plans for the start of the school year, and we'll announce specific details shortly." This was 9 something last night, you know. Mr. Siratan further explained that the team had explored various solutions, including split site arrangements and alternative ways to leverage available resources and spaces without compromising the quality of education. DS Director Mr. Mark Ray noted that, in quotes, we recognize the inconvenience and uncertainty the situation may cause for some of our students, really? No, for all of your students, parents, and staff. However, we're committed to minimizing disruptions while providing the best possible education for our students. He further assured stakeholders that the DES is in constant communication with the project team. Well, my question is, were you in constant communication with the project team over the entire summer? Because then this means that the lack of communication on your part with the students and the parents is where the blame should now sit. I mean, come on now. You can't be in constant communication and still drop the ball as epically as this. YouTube says, YouTuber2345 says, okay, let's just face the facts. The two most common professions in Jamaica is either teaching or nursing. Many only get qualified to get a pay, not necessarily for love of the job. Ms. Joyce Sand says, if we have all uneducated children, who's going to get the jobs? Bigger picture here, folks. Shamar says, very, very few have Cayman and Caymanians in their best interests, unfortunately. Good morning, Miss Emma. Siobhan says, not Caymanians, that's for sure. Morna says, something happening in the BRAC, all expat teachers in the schools. And Cayman BRAC, so they're having the same problem too? What a mess. Diamond Princess says, years ago, teachers had a passion for teaching. These ones have no passion. They are in it just for the money, no different from the politicians. Miss Sue says, if your child has Miss Bailey at Wesleyan, as a teacher, you should be concerned. Oh, who is Miss Bailey and what's going on there? Oh my gosh. Siobhan says no teacher should tell a student that, period. I mean, I would be, my response. I'm sitting here shaking my head for the benefit of the radio folks because I'm left speechless. Oh my God. Magdalene suggests that he can resit his math this year. Gabby says she gave that raise so that she can have votes to get back in. Ms. Joyce Ann says they should give the teacher a bonus or some recognition if the kids pass their classes. You see, that's performance-based. And that's not what we're doing. Like I said, we continually reward students. We continually reward teachers and administrators when there's no evidence of performance. And in fact, the evidence supports the opposite, that our kids are failing. Live Happy says, physical education teacher seems to put extra effort into the Jamaican athletes and none to the Caymanian athletes. Look at how track and field activities are so poor. I hear a phone ringing here. How about increase in salary being based on student successes, right? Yes, ma'am. What? You found my card? Oh, let me message the bank and tell her don't cancel it. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Oh, let me hurry and message CNB. Don't cancel the card. Hold on. We found it in the closet. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't want to have to get a new card, to be honest. All right. There we go. But did I actually send that message earlier? Because I don't see it in my outbox, which is kind of weird. Oh, maybe it never sent it because it says it's sending stuff. Oh, Lord. Can I retract this email? Yeah, it hadn't even sent it. Look at that. Anyway, hopefully she'll see the one to ignore cancellation request. All right. It was in the closet. Diana, good morning. It says, good morning. My children are all grown, but I'm concerned about our children. I also think parents should not leave their children to the total responsibility of the teachers. I see after children leave school, they have no guidance. Some parents are too busy focusing on themselves and not giving the time to their children. Social media has too much influence on our children, agreed. And parents need to pay more attention to the children and not leave them up to the teachers, and my opinion. No, I completely agree. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, that parents have a role to play. This is like a trifecta thing, right? So parents have their role to play, very, very important in influencing your children. The school has their role to play. The administrative arm, which is the Ministry of Education, the department, also has a role to play. And if any one of those is falling down on the job, then it's a problem, you know? So Ms. Morna says the schools are over full. Speaking of that, I understood yesterday from another source, listen to this one carefully because this one likewise blew my mind, that we're still interviewing teachers for this school year. I was like, what? The school year started already. What do you mean we're still interviewing teachers? Shouldn't they already be interviewed, hired, onboarded, here, situated? So there is an element and a larger question here of, are we actually setting up teachers to also fail because of how we are handling them? Some of them are going to fail. Last year, teachers were being brought in, and then when they got here, because they were promised that their children would have space in the public school system, and that's the only way that they could afford to move from country A to Cayman. And they got here, and that was not the case. So a number of them up and left. That is setting somebody up for failure. And once again, we have to look at the Department of Education and the ministry for that. That's ridiculous. Miss Olive says, boy, if these people hate Jamaican one more time, shaking my head, Jamaicans can never, ever do anything right in the sight of most Caymanians. You know, Miss Olive, I don't think that that's true. And I'm going to tell you why. I think that is true for some people, but I definitely would not say most Caymanians at all. Because most Caymanians, as like a good 75, 80% of us, have ties, very, very close ties with Jamaica. But we also have to speak the facts, right? So if I were to do an FOI right now, and it said to you that 90% of our school teachers are coming from Jamaica, and now we're talking about some of the issues and lack of performance or whatever that's happening in our schools, are you going to say that that's because we're hating on Jamaicans? No, those are just the facts. The numbers, you can't argue with the numbers. And the greater the numbers are, the greater, I suppose, you're going to have problems from those particular teachers just because it's a numbers game at some point in time. So I don't know what percentage. Maybe I hardly do FOIs, I'm going to be honest with you. But maybe I need to do an FOI to actually get the numbers so we can say, okay, we got 80%, we got 90%. Just because we're talking about these factual truths does not mean that we're hating on Jamaicans. We've had some excellent, and let me preface my next comment by saying my experience in the Cayman education system outside of law school is really nil, because I left here when I was too young. I was only 8 years old. I left the system, and I don't remember anything about elementary school except some cute little kid named Dominique, and the fact that the principal at the time, who was a Caymanian, told my mother to put me in Lighthouse School. That's all I can remember about elementary school, and that would have been Georgetown Primary. So I say this because I've heard other people say it, and I know it to be the fact because we've got a long history between Cayman and Jamaica. But we have had some excellent teachers over the years that were Jamaican teachers. What is happening now with a priority being given to Seventh-day Adventist teachers first, then Jamaican teachers, then whatever other connections, is downright wrong. And I don't care if they're Jamaicans or if they were coming from St. Lucia, Honduras, whatever. The formula that seems to be applied to the hiring of teachers in recent times under the management of certain individuals within the ministry is wrong, and it should not be allowed to be continued. And again, without the benefit of FOI, I can't tell you exactly which ones and who all and whatever the numbers of Seventh-day Adventists. I don't even know if they're asking that question, but the people who work in the system, the parents, they know the affiliation. They know, oh, this principal's Seventh-day Adventist. Her husband's a pastor in a Seventh-day Adventist church. An assistant teacher. You mean to tell me you can't find a Caymanian to fill an assistant teacher role? Oh yeah, he's a Seventh-day Adventist pastor as well. It's just too much. So don't make this about Caymanians versus Jamaicans. This is about our children and what is in their best interests. And then on top of it, if we're hiring people who don't have the right attitude towards our children, who don't really care about our children, who don't want to see our children succeed, that complicates the situation even further. Eric, good morning, sir. He says, Miss Sandra, I agree with that parent. I had the same issue with my son at Clifton. He's in class, and a study that was taken place when he didn't understand completely and asked a teacher for help, he was told to figure it out on his own. That sounds like somebody who cares about your child. Ms. Lucille also agrees parents should play their part, absolutely. But some of the teachers, they do, all they do is complain about the child. If you see a child acting suspicious than the child, and find out what's going on before talking about the child to another teacher in front of other children. Ms. Bonnie says the truth will be that it was England, Barbados, and Cayman. When it was England, Barbados, and Cayman, the system was great. But after certain nationality teachers joined the fold, it's sad days in the schools. Magdalene says free, no today, but they believe in their tithes and offering. They should try Agape or maybe the Church of God Chapel Hall. What a mess. Ms. Bonnie says Monteith needs to be moved, and Juliana gets to go now too. Got to go now. Sorry. What a hot mess. Giovanni, good morning. Aliano says, need to go back and binge watch Game of Thrones. I need to watch it. I've never watched it, but it looks interesting. Good morning, Johan. He says, Father God, please do not allow Auntie Sandy to travel to the BRAC anytime in the next 8 years. Morning, caller. You trying to call the show? Okay, Mama, 936-2626. Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Oh, call. No. You need to call the show. This is not, you're not live on air. Call the show number. Sorry? No, but you need to call the show. Lord God. Hold on. Let me send you the number, honey child. But call the show number because what happened now? I can't take WhatsApp calls on this phone because anyway. LA Bod Powell says Cayman Bracker, the premier gave the school teachers a raise. The expat teachers do not business with the Cayman children. I was told this by my son and his friends when they were in school. Cayman Islands will never be the same. Our own people has done this to us. Cassius says at the end of the day, Caymanians are to blame. Too many would rather sit back and complain, but substitute with another word. Be and complain and expect you or someone else to do something about it. Too passive for their own good. What a hot mess. All right, folks. I'll give that caller an opportunity to call, and then we're going to talk about the credit union situation for the next couple of minutes of the program. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Hi there.
I'm telling Miss Oliver very good morning this morning that talking about Cayman and 8 Jamaican. It's not so. I'm a Jamaican born. I'm going to tell you, I hate, and I'm saying it public, 90% of us. I'm putting myself in it because I even hate myself the way I hate some of them. And who don't like it, they can come for me. But the truth is the truth. The Jamaicans that come in now, these days, they make us look bad. And anyone want to pick me up, they can come because we soon dead already, so I don't care. Bye.
All right, honey chow. Spoken like a true Jamaican. Man, I care. Lord Jesus. Cassius says to criticize the Jamaican is to offend them. They don't do anything wrong in their eyes, illegal or immoral. And that's why their country's in the mess that it's in now. And that's why they run from there. What a hot mess. All right. Ay, ay, ay. Caramba. Miss Sanya says, caller, true words. Agree with you 100%. Shamari says, speak, Carla. Speak. Giovanni's like, eye emoji, cup of tea. Kaboom, says Miss Bonnie. Kaboom! Listen, like I said, good, sensible, hardworking, moral Jamaicans, this conversation does not impact them one way or the other because they know that this don't apply to them. But if you don't think that we have had a degradation in the type of people that we're importing from Jamaica, from Honduras, from the state, from all over, I dare say, take a look around. Every Sunday boat cruise, y'all just take a look around and you'll see exactly what I mean. Take a look at the cause list. Whether it's traffic, rape, molestation, everything, and you'll see that we have our own bad seeds to contend with, and then we are also, unfortunately, importing a lot of bad seeds. Even the Filipinos trying to get in on the bad seed jumper situation, because now some of them going rogue too. They must be mad. This person says, good morning, sis. Lovely program. It's me too. I have a problem with some of my Jamaican people. This person says, honestly, Sandra, my daughter has been in the public school system since primary school, and I don't leave any and everything solely to the teachers. I'm in constant contact with them, and this has been since she was at Montessori preschool. She left primary school as a top achiever and just left Clifton Hunter and passed all 14 CXCs with 1 and 2s. A lot of these parents complain about the system, but you don't see them in the school. You don't see them at PTA. Some of them say they don't have any communication from the school and their child is in their last year. It is hard work and a lot of sacrifice, but if they have to be present, and all they look for is a handout. They get everything free from the government, but if the teacher / PTA asks for something, they can't assist or donate. I agree, and I said it yesterday as well. By the way, let me just give you guys a little bit of an update, and then we're going to move on to a few other things here. I know time is pressing, but the young lady who called yesterday, I'm happy to tell you guys after 4 phone calls yesterday within the hour, we are on a path to a sensible resolution. By next week or the week after, she should have her acknowledgement in her hands. Okay? When it's a done deal, I will confirm and let everybody know. No need for, somebody suggested that she set up a GoFundMe page. To this day, I can't understand why. But there's no need for that. And it's sad that the MPs that she went to, whoever she went to, were not in a position to give her sensible advice and to pick up the phone like I did yesterday, 4 phone calls later, verified a few things and got it sorted out. So now she has done what she needed to do yesterday. I'll leave it up to her to give you guys the final update. But dare I say, we're on a path to getting it all resolved so that she can get, hopefully in another week or two, that acknowledgement paper confirmation in her hand so she can go out there and find a job and support her family. So I just wanted to, because I know that took up quite a bit of yesterday's show program, and some of you might be wondering as to what happened. So I wanted to give you all an update. Literally 4 phone calls and within the hour. And I want to thank all the people who provided me with some advice and steps forward to then be able to guide her in the right direction. All right. The predominant religious practices in Jamaica is Seventh-day Adventist, says this person. They have smartened up and organized, and over the last decade or so began to operate much like the Jews in their support, in that they support their own, but quietly. This person says, I'm listening. Think of the teachers and staff at CIFEC who also still don't know where they'll be teaching students. Teachers have had their classrooms set up should have had their classrooms set up by now and have their resources in place. Teachers are also in limbo as well. So, yeah, very sad. Indeed. Why aren't they using the Family Life Center as an alternate spot for CIFEC? They have breakout rooms more than the Adventist Church has. They could rent the Church of God Chapel, a big building, for a few months, or at least check to see if the board will rent it. Oh my God. So for the behavioral intervention unit, what I'm understanding is those teachers now have to figure out how to support the kids in the school, which does not allow us to do the intervention that is needed. The schools have no room to give us to use. What are we doing? What? So the most at-risk students are now not even in an environment that is designed to address their needs. This is crazy. This is madness. I'm sorry, but I mean, y'all want to protest something? 5 of y'all were protesting CUC on Saturday. This is the kind of thing now that all 200 parents, and I get it that a lot of you are civil servants, you're afraid, but y'all need to find the balls to fight for your kids, because if you don't do it, who else is going to do it? As I said yesterday, you have got to prioritize and be your child's number one advocate, because nobody else is going to care that much about your children. Let me be honest. But the problem is, unfortunately, some of you as parents don't hardly care yourself. And that is a sad indictment on us as well. This is hard. I mean, I'm heartbroken by all the foolishness that I'm hearing. Wow. Lord Jesus. This person says, by the way, Julie has been deliberately and systematically stacking the education system with religious fundamentalists. It's her last stand on keeping Cayman a God-fearing nation. But the students pay the price. Not only are they undereducated by many teachers who do the bare minimum, but they're instill religious practice into the school from prayer rally sermons, morning assembly. I witnessed it at Prospect Primary in the infamous and tragic exorcisms, to being told left-handed is for the devil. These are our children. They're not even taught Caymanian culture, history, and literature in school. Oh, wow. That's an interesting comment. Wow. Not good. And it's interesting that, again, all of those teachers involved in the exorcism and the principal, nothing happened to them. They're allowed to retire and go off into the sunset after forcibly making children swallow an unknown substance. Like it's just crazy. You know, I've seen people be dragged into court for common assault for far less than that. And yet a school principal does that to your children and they face no criminal charges. It is crazy. And it makes no logical sense. Ms. Bonnie says, Juliana, you have let the country down. Ms. Morna says, seems like a third world already here in Cayman. Lord, take the wheel, shaking my head. Shamar says, hey, I'm left-handed. You see, that's the kind of nonsense that I can't even tolerate. Let me tell y'all something, right? Because of my own experience, which I've told you guys, of a Caymanian principal at the time, many, many years ago, making the recommendation to my mother that I be put in Lighthouse School. And I think to myself, if that suggestion had been followed, right? And listen, my father was the most imperfect man that you could probably find. He was an adulteress. He did the most. Drinking, smoking. He lived his best. Typical Caymanian. Maybe I shouldn't say that because then y'all will say I'm insulting Caymanians, but whatever. Of the day, typical Caymanian men, the shenanigans that they were up to. He lived it and he did it and he was out there, whatever. He made the decision to remove me not just from that school, but from all of Cayman to give me a little bit of a fighting chance. And I often reflect on the fact that had he not done that, what would have been the course? And this is where when I talk about parents being advocates for your children, what would have been the course and the outcome of my life? We would be nowhere near where we are today, right? So parents, stand up, advocate, fight if you have to remove your children. Now, I want to tell you a story. My daughter started out at a school for babies. I'm a working parent. At 8 months, we tried the whole nanny/helper situation. She was just sitting down, holding her all day, wasn't encouraging her to move around or do anything. And I said, well, that doesn't work. I mean, you don't just sit there cradling a baby all day so you can watch Grey's Anatomy seasons 1 through 55, right? So I said to my husband, I said, you know what? I think the best thing for us to do is to put her, she's 8 months old, put her in daycare. And at least we know she is going to be around multiple people. The baby facility was really, really excellent. She's going to be socializing with other children. And I tell you what, within the first couple months, you could see the marked difference of a child being in an environment where they're constantly being talked to. They are, around other babies. They hear each other, cooing and gaggling and whatever. The vocabulary started to come. I mean, all this stuff. And they would say that even at a very young age, like, oh, child, you better start saving your money, Sandy, because she is doing things and wanting to put on her own clothes at a very early age. And she's understanding things. And although she wasn't verbal, we were already teaching her sign language. And she knew words, sign words. By the time she was 5-6 months old, she could tell you she wanted milk. She could tell you daddy, mommy. She could tell you she wanted to go to the bathroom. And that was just me, amateur hour, sitting there watching a YouTube video and then teaching her stuff. And babies soak up everything in their environment. They are just, children are little sponges. And so I said, let's put her in a more structured environment. Okay. So we did that and everything was great. I mean, they were fantastic, helped with the whole potty training journey because, child, we were ready to get out of diapers real quick. And then one day we had a parent-teacher session. This is what I'm going to tell you all now, right? Parents, be an advocate for your children. We had a parent-teacher session. And the teacher at the time, she was a little bit older. So I guess she'd have been maybe 2 or 3 in that age. And the teacher said, we have some concerns. And she started telling us some of the things. And even my husband's like, oh, well, that's really weird because at home we see her doing this and we see her doing that and da-da-da. And maybe it was more the way it was delivered and by the individuals and how they deliver it. And I remember his aunt was here and my husband comes from a family that they, Jamaicans, but they prioritize education. Every single brother, his mom had 4 boys. They're all degree educated. Engineer, 2 engineers. He does IT. And what does the other brother do again? Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah, engineering as well, but for concrete on the construction side. So they believe in education. You're not talking about you're not going to school and you're not getting an education, right? Top marks at St. Mary High School. That's their priority. They're not running. They're not going to be running around the track as athletes. but they are going to be focused on their education and professional development and, working hard and yada, yada, yada. So his aunt happened to have been visiting us then, and she was sitting in on the assessment. Because again, listen, she's just here for a month, but Gianna has a school assessment. I'm going. She wasn't, oh no, I want to go see the stingrays. I'm going to 7 Mile Beach. No. This is family. He's only going to have the one child. Sorry. But, we prioritize our education. So she showed up and we sat there and we listened. And I remember during that meeting thinking to myself, I had a moment of reflection where I thought, sometimes the assessment and the things that teachers say, not to say you shouldn't take it, but take it with a grain of salt. Because what we were experiencing was different than what she was saying, which is entirely possible because sometimes kids perform and act differently for different reasons, shyness or whatever in an environment, or maybe that environment just isn't bringing those things out. But if you see them academically excelling at home and wanting to learn about letters and read, and you have to read to them every single day, read a book to your kids, right? And you see there's some disconnect between the school and you as a parent and what you're witnessing with your child, make a move. And so in that movement, I sat there and I said to myself, we need to put her somewhere else. Maybe she's just outgrown this preschool in this environment. And I said it to my husband. Of course, he was more hesitant than me. He's like, no, let's just take what they're saying. I said, trust me on this. As someone who had a parent told to put her in Lighthouse School, I can tell when someone is missing the mark. Okay. Yeah, we put her in the Montessori system. I don't need to tell you that you're going to pay a pretty penny to put your children in what is regarded as the best, one of the best, if not the best, teaching methods. Yeah. Double their tuition for sure. And you know what? I said, girl, just keep twerking on the keyboard, typing them stories and making some money, because you've got to prioritize your child above anything else in this world. Give your children a fighting chance. And if that means I didn't jump up and no yelling and screaming at the teacher, I said, thank you very much for your assessment. The following day, I started looking at some, because we were originally going to put her in Montessori, but they didn't have space. The one crew road, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, no problem. I said, we need to make a move. We do it now. Those foundation years, preschool years, are the most important years of your child's life because you are building the foundation from there. You cannot stop, right? Every day, be about your children's business. I wish that we had a minister of education that felt that impassioned about children. Be about their business. We should not find ourselves in this situation today. And it really breaks my heart because I know, again, from my own personal story, my own familial story, that if you don't give the children the education that they need, the skills that they need in this world, we are setting them up for failure. I see it in my own family. Siblings, cousins, other people who didn't sometimes have the opportunity. Their parents didn't care, right? Even when they themselves, was presented with the opportunity, they didn't take it up. But the very way in which you were taught to think about life will impact your future. We talk about common sense and also common sense. That's because we don't even teach our children to think logically. We put all kind of foolishness in their head. Now, say what you want about religion. I grew up in a religious environment and I believe those things simply because, as I've said before, that's what I grew up with. But I'm also able to think and understand that there's certain things that just ain't logical, not at all, that deal with religion. And so that's why I don't like to get in arguments with people about religion. To me, it's neither here nor there. You're entitled to your beliefs. What you're not entitled to are your facts. You can believe that the sky is green, But factually speaking, we're gonna have to disagree. And it is unfortunate that people are unable to separate the two, right? Even on Friday, we're going to talk about Dr. Dissaran. I'm going to break down a few things to you because I like this man as a doctor. I had him for many, many years. He helped bring my daughter into this world. And I'm able to separate my like of him, right? And what I see as irrevocable evidence that he has got some serious issues, including even performance on the job. You guys are arguing on social media about he's a great doctor. By the way, we're officially off radio now, that he's a great physician, he's a great doctor. You need to go and look at all of the malpractice lawsuits and reevaluate your position in relation to that. Just because it didn't happen to you. But the sheer number of malpractice suits and the ones that did not even make it to that stage that I know about personally would make me extremely concerned. How many bowels you gonna clip on different people before people go, oh, well, we got a problem? Setting aside all of the other business stuff for a minute. You see, you're entitled to your own opinion about him, and that's fine. You can like him. He is a likable guy. But when I see a BS artist, even if they are a doctor doing certain things, you got to be prepared to call a spade a spade. The only reason he has survived this long and not been called out on CMR, again, because as a human being, listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. As a human being, I too have feelings. And yes, at 8 months, he gave me the best advice to bring my daughter safely into this world. Let's take this baby out. Okay? She will not, the risk is too great. Throughout the entire pregnancy, he was monitoring me extremely carefully, but I could give you countless other examples where that has not been the case. One of my best friends almost lost her life after he performed a cesarean with another one of his physicians. And that child could have been in this world with nobody to raise it. Okay? So let us be on Friday prepared to set our emotions aside when we examine and we look at his situation. And people are entitled to know these things. Y'all like, oh, but y'all like, oh, yes. Oh, he's had one unsuccessful business. Why is this our business? It hasn't been one unsuccessful business. His countless number of patients deserve to know. Some of them, he did not even have the decency. He's up and leaving, supposedly, running for financial debt. And he didn't have the decency to inform his patients that he is leaving. And y'all still think he's a great doctor? Well, I don't know any great doctor under the sun that would do that. I don't know any great doctor under the sun that would leave pregnant women in their third semester hanging and telling them to go to Georgetown Hospital where they have to wait a month to get an appointment, right? When they're about to deliver a baby. That's not what good doctors do. So let us set aside that likability factor of this man and let's call a bullshit artist what it is when we see it. And there's going to be a lot, without a doubt, that you all may not know about him and his situation that you're going to learn that is going to enlighten you. Nobody's rushing to judgment. And somebody said, but, oh, y'all rush and criticize the man. No. Because we have lots of information. Some of the facts are in that story, but that story does not contain all of the facts either. And so as human beings, let me be very, very clear. It is entirely possible that we can, on the one hand, right, like someone and have an opinion on them based on just whatever, and we're able to separate and compartmentalize that, I can have a very separate conversation about this individual when it comes to factual things that I know. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sandra. Can I ask you a question on another topic?
Yes, sir.
The fugitive.
Lord Jesus.
We not heard another word
Not
about
a
that.
word. Not a word.
What is the government going to just keep spending all this money looking for somebody who they don't even know who they're looking for?
Lord God. Well, I mean, I guess the question then is, do we just carry on with life and pretend like he's not there? I mean, there's some questions to be answered for sure. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, how are Kim and Backers feeling? They feeling safe? Y'all still closing the doors or what?
My door open now.
But I know.
But I mean, honestly,
your
the amount of
dogs, he's not
police
coming in your
that
yard.
I don't have that dog anymore, unfortunately.
Oh my God, what happened to the dog?
I sold it and Grand came on. I couldn't manage him. He had so much energy for me.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's best to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, I mean, I see a lot of police up from Grand Cayman patrolling the roads and all that, but when you don't even know who you're looking for, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
And,
but no, we haven't heard any updates. In fact, listen to this, Curtis, because you'll recognize what they haven't done. You know that they haven't really revised the story to say, oh, yeah, that isn't the guy. I mean, he called it himself, but they've not, to the best of my knowledge, they've not confirmed that.
That's my question, really.
So I don't know. Good question.
Well, the good part with the restaurants making a lot of money out of the deal.
Oh, of all the extra people that are there.
Every time I see them, because they're at the restaurant.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, well, we'll maybe send them a quick email following up with them to see if they have any new leads that they want to share.
Yeah, because they haven't posted anything since the guy called you.
What a hot mess. Thank you, my dear.
Okay, take care.
All right, love. Speaking of the RCIPS, let's just do a quick story on this before we end the program today. I've got a physio appointment that I know I need to get to. Let me double check the time. Let me see here now. Physio appointment. Okay, so my physio appointment is at 10:45. Okay, we got time. All right. So listen here now, folks. The RCIPS has announced that they're launching an investigation into the apparent suicide of Mr. Mark Connolly, which happened on Sunday. There's some suspicious things going on. I guess that's why they're going to investigate it. I mean, I don't know what to say, really, but I guess they should investigate it just to make sure everything is on the up and up. We're hearing some rumblings, and of course, people who are in the know, I want you all to call and tell us what's going on here, because apparently this man who admittedly, dealt with some addiction over the years, it seems like he somehow got himself involved in a marriage of convenience. And I'm hearing that this woman was not very nice to him, that she mistreated him. And so that has led to, potentially contributed to this situation. There's also questions about his family members are saying, did he really do this? They saw him earlier, hours before, everything seemed fine. Allegedly, he was found in a shed down, this road there in Survivors Road, funny enough, there in East End. And there's just a lot of questions around it. So I think it's right and proper for the police to do a proper investigation. Folks, if you know anything about this, if you were there on Sunday, if you were in the general area when this happened, by all means, please reach out to the police and offer them your assistance in trying to figure out what happened to Mark. Nobody wants question marks or speculation around what happened to their loved ones, right? I think it's fair to say that regardless of how someone passes away, you want a degree of certainty. At least you can feel confident I mean, if he took his own life, if he committed suicide, then it is what it is. You want to know that. You don't want people speculating, oh, did somebody set him up? The wife, she was trying to get rid of him. Did she do something to him? Did other people there who were drinking with him or whatever, and late into the afternoon, did they have a part to play in this? Nobody deserves that around the death of a loved one. You just want certainty about what happened. And then you will have to find a way to move on. So, I encourage you that if you know anything, that if you've heard anything, that you can't go off of speculation now, but if you've heard or know something that could be of use to the police, by all means, please reach out to them and offer them your assistance in this case. Very sad situation. All right, Dee Dee says, morning, too many come to Cayman with their alternative motives. Unfortunately, we the Caymanians with our eyes wide shut fall prey to their lies. They also come here during what they would not think to do in their own country. It's really sad, the present status of our islands. Well, Dee Dee, to be quite frank, a lot of them come here doing exactly what they do in their own country. And they're no longer giving a damn. And as Caymanians, we can't be complicit in this because nobody can't force you into marriage in this country. So if you're marrying these people, you better check it out and check out where they're coming from and what their motives are. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay.
Just a little bit off topic. Something that just happened to a friend of mine, and I just want the island, their people, to be well aware of what's going on. Is they are SIM swapping, and they're taking over people's phone. So they have actually went in and swapped her SIM card to their phone, and they have taken over and contacting all of her friends, wanting money, etc. So please, the public, go to your provider.
Is this someone who had an eSIM? Or when you say,
no.
Well, how can you swap a SIM then?
They'll go in and pretend to be the person and saying that they lost a SIM card, and they would get a replaced SIM card.
What?
And
with no ID?
Yes, and apparently so. It has happened. So please, to the public, go to your provider and request that they do a PIN to secure your SIM card, that nobody can't come and get it without providing that.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, thank you for that.
Have a good day.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't know that you could go in and get a SIM without people being able to verify your ID. Don't they have to put that information down? Well, Desia, they can hack into your WhatsApp without any need for your SIM card. But what she's saying is they're actually getting access to the SIM itself. I wasn't aware that was happening in Cayman. Shaka Zulu says, yes, it's common in the States. Yes, for sure. But in Cayman, I mean, anybody getting a SIM, you should be able to provide some information on, to show that that's your number. Wow. What a mess. Yeah, be on the lookout, folks. Be vigilant. I wonder if eSIMs are easier or harder to do because, again, if I'm requesting it, well, you don't need to request a replacement eSIM, right? Maybe we'll ask some of the telecom companies here if they've had any reports of that happening, because that's quite a serious situation. Now, they don't need your SIM to be able to take over your number on WhatsApp. And this is where you have to be very, very careful, because scammers, all they need is to get it verified. So if you don't have 2FA, two-factor authentication on your logins and stuff like that, take it from me. You should. And then that would allow you to, protect, at least it has to verify by email or whatever, allows you to protect it. So they can't do it as easily. Let me put it that way. It would in fact stop a lot of people in their tracks. And then some applications, I can't remember if WhatsApp is one of those, will also notify you if anybody's requesting information, on your, like trying to transfer it and requesting it from like a different IP address or whatever. So this person says, good morning. As far as Flow goes, IDs are required for replacement SIM card. So they can't do it with Flow. And I wouldn't think Digicel would allow that either, but you know, this person says, good morning. I've had 2 friends that it's happened to, and it was reported to the police. Wow. Pretty wild. All right. What else we got for you? Let me briefly mention the situation with the credit union. So this is amateur hour, folks. The government is looking at increasing fees across the financial services. Hopefully you guys read an article that went up last night. And, you know, what can I say? Except they decided that they would change the Section 9 that applies to the credit union. And they would go from, I'm assuming, currently charging them nothing to charging them $200,000 per annum in a registration fee. And they're saying, hold on a second. Now, it has not gone over well. This person says, Flo asked for everything except my firstborn. It has not gone over well. Good for the credit union. They've galvanized their members. They sent out notifications right away. This consultation period of, oh, you need to get back to us with a response within 10 days, the credit union has said is impossible for them to meet because they, you know, they need 14 days minimum of a notice period for their members to be able to send out notice for a meeting. And remember now that all members are owners, you know, in the credit union, it's a membership style business. So it is interesting. The first thing that I thought of when I saw this is, oh, you mean the government is going to be running afoul of FFR and they know it. And so now they need to increase fees and generate additional revenue because of their overspending. Do not think for a minute that that's not what's really going on here. The Brack School, all these major projects, even the referendum, $1.5 million, poof, is going to be gone right this so. Okay? All these things that they're prioritizing that's costing us money, they haven't really given much thought about how they're going to pay for it. So going into 2025, they have proposed, and they're going to do it, not necessarily the credit union one, but they're going to raise fees across financial services. Okay, some people in financial services are going to say, you guys are going to start to outprice yourself, and other jurisdictions will become more attractive just from a cost savings perspective. Nothing in this world is free. There are no free meals. You pay for it one way or the other. Okay. Now, funny enough, somebody told me that apparently Julie just got on the radio because she's seen people upset. She's just gone on radio, came on and said that she's not going to support the fee increase for the credit union. Is it possible that we are so gullible that we would believe this theatrical nonsense? She's going to pretend now that the financial minister, which is Andre Ebanks, would have done this all on his own and never spoke to any other cabinet members, that her as the leader of government, as the premier, would not have known that? Come now. Minabar in this size. Come. We're not stupid. Of course you knew about it, and you would have given some sort of a nod to say, yeah, put it out for consultation. I guess what you didn't anticipate is that the credit union was not going to take it lying down, and I don't blame them one bit. Look out for the best interests of your members. They say 51% at least of members are Caymanians. A lot of Caymanians say when they couldn't go anywhere else to get a little loan, the credit union came to their rescue. A financial institution, like, because they're not considered a bank, that employs Caymanians and have Caymanians operating there. Yes, we've heard complaints over the years about management, but setting that aside, this is an institution that largely is benefiting Caymanians. So good for you. Stand up and fight. Why not? Now here she comes in. I'm not going to support this. I didn't know nothing about it. The day that some of y'all wake up and decide to stop lying to the people of the Cayman Islands would be a glorious day indeed. That is a day that we should be singing hallelujah and praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
I'm just saying, you're not fooling anyone with these games. For more reasons than one, she gonna throw Andre under the bus. And believe me, he better get them prayer beads ready. I hope he didn't put them back in the drawer with the Bible, because you're gonna need it. Andre, you cannot support unprincipled people and think that one day that isn't going to catch you. You made a decision, and it is what it is. Y'all got rid of Ween Panton, and now look at where you got. You are not supporting her agenda in relation to the National Conservation Act. There will be a price to pay for that, You don't think that she's running any kind of a democracy as a cabinet. When you don't agree with her, there is going to be hell to pay. Take a little look at this. She's going to throw you right under the bus. Make it look like you and your ministry came up with these fee increases and you did this all on your own. Meanwhile, she's the one who's over here spending in excess of $50 million in the BRAC and wasting money that we don't have on a school that we don't need at that magnitude. But you're the finance minister. So when y'all can't balance the budget, when the FFR situation becomes real and the UK starts to go, ooh, y'all in trouble, then what are you going to do? You going to run back to Ween Panton? You sit there. It's coming, honey child. No degree of fiscal responsibility or restraint. None at all. It was only a matter of time. All right. Let me leave them words right there. Pat says, have we not seen this hand played before? Oh, yeah. Some people too green in politics and they don't know the real deal. They don't know the real people who will definitely cut you off. And they can do it at the knees. Sit there and watch and wait for it. They don't have any scruples about them, folks. Sorry to say. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to the program today. Tomorrow, we're going to touch on the environment a little bit. Mr. Panton is supposed to be coming on tomorrow's show. And then Friday, we will spend some time talking about the Dr. Dusaran situation, because it occurred to me that you guys, some of you didn't even read the article, but some of you are unfortunately very, very confused about what that is about and about what's actually going on. I'm trying to save y'all from yourselves sometimes because y'all are very, very gullible. All right. Miss Rose, good morning, says it's only a matter of time. You're right, Sandy. Honey, child. What can we say? Some people have quite an interesting track record of being the Judas in the room with every single situation. Good morning to Miss Sue, the beautiful Miss Sue. Says all the government seems to do is lie, and mess with the Caymanian people. It's so bad. All right. Folks, do have yourselves a beautiful day. It is Hump Day Wednesday. So we're rolling right into Thursday, God's willing. I saw we were getting a little bit of rain this morning. So we're thankful for the showers. Marco, good morning to you. He says overspending leads to one thing, crises. You better believe it. No fiscal restraint whatsoever. All right, beautiful people. Have a fantastic day. Please be safe out there. School is now in full swing, except for CIFEC. Sorry, CIFEC people. All the schools have returned. So you know what the traffic is going to be like in the afternoon. Take your time. If you have appointments, leave out in plenty of time to get to your appointment so you don't stress yourself out. You're not running into each other and having completely senseless accidents on top of it as well. Good, folks. I'll see you guys in the morning.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.